about to feel some type of way about a low end. Want be my friend or act up on the hill to pass some judgment. Low key, I'm the best. That's just how I feel. If you think it's somewhere different, you can get one cap that's peeled. Bigger fish to fry, that's why I made the kill shack. Gonna put my life on the line for this line. Yeah, you just heard that. Frequency's the fuck way you can feel one. If it's not by the hollow tips, you found a real one. Yeah, then you gonna find a real one. When Thor made his hammer, he needed like a star to make that impact real. You feel me? And it's nothing short of what I just seen on the internet with these smashing walls up and down with fire in the middle. This nothing short of what in the Bible it has when the mouth of the beast is munching on you for eternity. So whatever your core values are and the sole purpose, these are just keywords, but they mean everything and indignity that you've had, because if you get sent to hell, there's no word of repent in it. Any dignity and repent, these are all keywords that just fastens up particle physics of stuff that we can't understand because probabilistics of the wave function. And that's when I was freestyling about frequency is important, and harmonics is something that is undeniable in arrows of time. And that's just how something's made, but how something, when it comes out after and it cools down, like the dynamics of those harmonics when they're manifesting, just like with even land masses, you can see these things occurring. Someone's slipping, you know, in rap they're always saying don't slip. Well, imagine slipping down a hill for eternity in hell, pushing a rock up there. You've got a permanent state of like a bike as a monkey that looked disgusting in a movie. Or that make is something that sticks with you. If it's made somewhere it's horrific, it's gonna stick with you a lot more than something that's great. And I think that's probably where we're born into sin, and that's what that means. Let me explain. When I was a kid, I saw a movie and there's like these people on a bike dressed up as monkeys and they're like leaned forward. I thought this was the most disgusting act that I've ever seen. So what a middleman is not a right-hand man. You know, we've got all these catchwords and buzzwords, and after a year of words of, you know, meaningful, it's pretty much like time to start boiling. And so like when someone talks about a stove, you know, it's usually meant for cooking, but people make a lot of money off stoves just from different types of cooking. And so it's really important to know the difference between what hazardous is and what isn't. And I know that having the title of being called the Kill Shack is violent, it's really suspect. It's not meant to grab anyone's attention. It's just simply as like movies, or you can have a scary movie, and this is 2023 and people have seen scary movies since the 80s, and you know, a lot of them get on TV, and if we're setting a standard with what gets on TV, there's like a board of people who are in charge of movies, and if something's grotesque like feces flying in the air and goes in someone's mouth, you have to stand in front of a board if your movie gets inside of a movie theater, and you have to explain to them in this board what I just said. So these are the standards in 2023, and people don't even go in movies anymore because a hazardous waste got loose. They say they don't like the way that I'm talking, cause it comes off that I'm cocky, but I can tell that I'm not bluffing, or it's nothing that I'm after something.
fact, I get it off in public and really actually doing something. And when they thought to peep the message, it's when they get a bunch of disgrace. I'm not only causing up my radar, I've got 10 toes down and I see far. You know there's gonna come some way off, and now we gonna need some rebarb. There's a Japanese music in the back. It's like, I know I'm conservative, so I already have like a small tiny lane where a lot of this isn't even gonna get out. But if I just drop feature film lengths, you know, to the likes of what's better than current or to date, there's going to be undeniable evidence that this stuff needs to get heard. And so just by having a title of something called the Kill Shack, you know, it's a high wire act and you're playing with fire at the same time. That being said, I'm a full-fledged adult, so I'm able to do that. That being said, with what Kill Shack is going to entail is basically how people are getting looked at as a small number. And to whatever that means, you can almost use that idealism with the land. How much of land is more important than a person, and how commercials always blare is like the reason why you're using a screen is not to have a commercial scream. And you know, it's not like I'm a wordsmith or anything, but the jump from, hold on. Alright, so I'm a conservative, so I feel like I'm got a price tag on my head because Democrats own the media, but just saying you're conservative is wrong because there's a uniparty of conservatives who go together and are worse than Democrats, so that's one way that the bill folds the flagstaff. What's a bill fold than a flagstaff? When a person is looked at as just a number, and then as long as you do whatever it is that they're saying you do, then they move on to the next person. This is something where if you follow this line of logic, it's like I didn't do anything when my friends were getting in trouble, and then when they came for me, I didn't have any friends to help me get out of trouble. That's a real line of logic. And so with that being like highly politicized with getting whatever the thing wants, if you're trying to give up something that is worth the world or your life, it could look at as like you're just a number. And so, you know, I can't like fact check that. If you don't understand it, it's pretty much like through time and values. And with time and values is the land. How much the land is in purpose of like your body, because if you're just not like a part of what they're wanting from you, you can look at as the land being you if the thing that they want is larger than life. And that's what I'm gonna decal into Kill Shack. Make it blatantly obvious within the first, minute. And I don't want to act like Napoleon Dynamite's uncle, where he puts up a camera and like he throws a football and he thinks his past, if he would have got let into the football team, they would have won state and he would have been in an NFL. But I do understand that's a stigma that I'm definitely playing whenever I talk about something and it's not done yet. So it's going to incorporate theorems of, like in forensic files, when fire goes into a subway and it blows like with the negative pressure outwards from an escalator. This is kind of things that the land has. That people think that small scale stuff only matters in theorems because it's small scale and you don't have to worry about it. But if you apply enough energy like an inferno, you'd be surprised how many applications the land has that equal out the same effects but on larger scales. And that's why that your body, if it's taken for granted, can be looked at as a piece of land. And this, nothing's good or bad. This is why, like, further than planet Earth is like a cosmos, and you can emulate your body through that if you have raw data and do it for the better. But so far, in common day and age, we can't fly a spaceship past like Mars. So more on that later. Watch a show or a movie. I'd rather watch a movie than a show because shows are just meant to be put on as background noise, like elevator music. A movie you go and sit down at, but theaters have been canceled. I haven't been one to years. Cancel culture 101. Check this point out. You take two objects, you relate them contributing to an era of time. Life or death situations, anything you do in life, because it's just like what Ludacris said, you could die tomorrow and fucking live every day your best. So it's basically in your body and then the land capitalizing off one or the other. Someone wants to make currency, there's definitely a way of finding it, and making uploading to the cloud preferable for you making decisions is really it's like really, but people fall for it all the time. When you go on Expedia.com, you're filling out information for it, it's not filling out the information for you. If you don't know the difference of this, it's just like in commercials. Commercials blare with sound. You're turning on the screen not to listen to them, but they grab your attention because they're so loud. Once they do, that's it. And so when it comes to water and air, if you put on the air inside of your house with heating and you open the window, then that is going to make for really filtrated air, but it's a really big expense and it costs a lot of money and it's not really preferable. But if you've got enough money, you can do it. Or if you're going to move from your house, then you do it just because you got nothing to lose. With water, if you get water that's triple filtered and you boil it and you do a pour over with coffee or anything, it's going to make for that extraction because the interaction is more curated. And curations is something that's going to be a main plot point of a movie that I'm trying to make, because if you make a movie, it's better than a show, because shows are elevator music when movies are something you're actually sitting down in a theater to watch. And I've been in the theater for years because of cancel culture, and I understand the movie that's not made yet. It's called Kill Shack, and the word kill is very bad because it has to do with a negative denotation, and I'm okay with that because I'm above 18.